Hi, welcome back. I'm glad you could join me today. You ready to do a fantastic little painting? Tell you what, let's start out and have them run all the colors across the screen that you need to paint along with me. And as usual, they'll come across in the same order as I have them on the palette, starting with the white and working all the way around. Let's go on up to the canvas here. I've got my standard old 18 by 24 canvas up here, and it's all covered with liquid white, and it's ready to go. So let's get started. Today I'm going to start out with a touch of phthalo blue. Just a touch. It's very strong, very strong. And I'm going to reach up here and grab a touch of the midnight black and put in there. So now we have black and blue, or blue and black. Just tap it into the bristles. Okay, let's go right up here. Let's just build a happy little sky. And I'm just going to make little X's, little crisscross strokes, and work all the way across the canvas. Just keep going all the way across. And you can add a little more color as you need it. Now, by starting at the top, working all the way across and then working downward, your color will mix with the liquid white, and automatically, it'll get lighter and lighter toward the horizon. You don't have to do a thing. It'll work for you automatically. And in a landscape, you always want it to be lighter toward the horizon and darker on the top and bottom. That helps create that illusion of distance in your painting. Yeah, we can just blend it like so, like so. Okay. Then, very lightly, it just makes some long horizontal strokes to take out all the brush marks. Now then, tell you what, while we have this old dirty brush going, I'm going to go right back into my blue, back into the blue, and the black, same old colors. And let's have some water in this painting. I love to paint water. Water is so fantastic. And it's one of the easiest things to do in this technique. So start from the outside and pull inward. Start at the bottom and work up. That way, automatically, once again, it gets lighter and lighter toward the horizon. See? By pulling from the outside in, you don't have any strong edges here that you have to blend out. It's very soft. Very soft, and it works much better. A little more of the color on the brush. And we'll do the other side. Pull from the outside in. And I want to leave a little area open here. If everything works just right, it'll look just like a little sheen of light coming across the water. Make your painting pretty when it's done. There. See, isn't that easy? That easy. You got your water in, and then very lightly, just grazing the canvas. Just bring it all together. And your light area still remains in there. And as we work farther and farther into the painting, you'll see why that light area is so valuable. It becomes your good friend. All right, let's wash our brush. And we wash our brushes with odorless thinner. And I really recommend you use odorless thinner. You're going to be working by yourself. There's a screen in the bottom of the can that I scrub the brush against. It allows the solid materials to settle to the bottom. Then we'll shake off the excess, and then just beat the devil. That's the most fun part of this whole technique. But if you do that in your living room, you're going to get run out in the yard. Let's build a happy little cloud today. We'll use a 1-inch brush. You could do it with a fan brush with a 2-inch. I'll just use a 1-inch. Be right back. Get a touch of bright red, just a touch. Pull quite a bit of color into the brush. Okay, let's go up here. Maybe there lives up here in the sky a happy little cloud that floats around and just has fun all day. See? Keep the brush moving. Keep the brush moving. Tight little circular strokes. And you have to make big decisions here. Where does your cloud live? If he lives right there, then just drop him in. Okay, and maybe he's got a friend. There's his friend. Lives right there. Maybe this is a lady friend. There. See how easy that is? You can do it. You can do it. You know, I get so many letters and stuff from people that they never believed that they could paint. And you wouldn't believe some of the pictures they send me of the paintings. My gosh, it really makes it all worthwhile. And young people, I have so many young friends. They are doing some of the most beautiful paintings you've ever seen. There we go. Well, I get to talking here, and I just put clouds all over the place. Now with a clean, dry brush, be sure your brush is good and dry. Oh, tongue got over my teeth there and I couldn't see what I was saying. Okay, now I'm just going to blend the base of these clouds out. Little tiny circles. Tiny little circles, there you go. See? Just blend the base out. Over here, blend it out a little bit. And then very lightly lift it up, fluff it, and then blend it. Isn't that a super nice, easy way to make a beautiful little cloud? When I was a traditional painter, clouds used to give me a fit. Whew. Now they're one of the easiest things there is to do. Look at there. See? Just very loose, fluffy. And you can make a happy little cloud. And we'll wash our brush one more time. I just like to beat on that brush. That's where you take out all your frustrations. Let's build a mountain in this one. I lived in Alaska for over a dozen years, and I'm crazy about mountains. We'll take some black, some Prussian blue, put some Van Dyke brown. Shoot, we'll throw some Lizard crimson in there too. So we got blue, black, brown, crimson. Looking for a good dark color. Cut us off a little roll of paint right on the edge of the knife, okay? Now then, decide where your mountain lives, and maybe in your world it lives right here. Push very firmly, and all you're worried about is the outside edge here. You could really care less what's going on inside this mountain. See? That's all you're looking for. And mountains are one of the most fun and educational things to paint, because it'll teach you how to make friends with this old knife. And this knife can do some of the most fantastic things imaginable. But it's like everything else, you have to make friends with it. So devote a little time to practice. Scrape off all the excess paint. Just really get in there. You can probably hear how hard I'm scraping. Just really get in there and scrape it out. You're not going to hurt the canvas. You're not going to hurt it. It's tough. It's really tough. Now we take the large brush, and I want to pull that color. Because this canvas is wet, you can move the color, and we blend it out. If you can see the entire mountain, it's always more distinct at the top than it is at the bottom, because of mist and pollution and all those things that break up and diffuse light. So by allowing it to just blend out on the base like this, that happens automatically. See, that mountain looks like it's just floating out there in the sky. Floating mountain. Floating mountain. Okay, let's put some snow on the mountain. Now when you're doing this at home, maybe you don't want to have snow on it. Maybe you want to have rocks and stuff. Change the color. The white shows up much better for television, so I'm going to use white today. I'm going to put just a touch of the bright red in there. And I say touch because very quickly you can set your white on fire. Okay, cut across, and once again, we need that little roll of paint right out on the edge of the knife, okay? Now then, take the point of the knife, put it right up here on the point of your mountain. No pressure, no pressure, no pressure. Just let it float. Just let it float. And you want the paint to break. And by break, it means have all these holes left in it. And you need a firm paint to do this. If you're using a paint that's thin or oily, you're going to probably become a mud mixer. And you're probably going to be upset with me. So be sure your paint is good and firm. It should be very dry. And then it'll do this. Okay? No pressure though. Absolutely no pressure. When I was teaching my son Steve to paint, I used to tell him just to pretend he was a whisper floating across the mountain. Little bit right there. Now then, I'm going to take some white. Let's use a little touch of the Prussian blue. White and a little touch of Prussian blue. Doesn't take much of that Prussian blue. Boy, it's strong. Boy, it is strong. One tube in the ocean would change the color. Okay. Pull it out very flat. Once again, cut across and get our little roll of paint. We need that. Now then, notice here that all the angles are going basically in the same direction, all the highlight angles. Now then, when we start putting the shadows on, they'll go in the opposing or opposite angle. See? And that makes those highlights just pop out. Now if you want this little peak to be in the background, put that shadow in first, Then when you come here, bring this one distinctly through, and that easy. That easy, you pushed the mountain back. Told you had a lot of power here. See, we'll put a little touch right in there. This peak right there needs its own little shadow. There we go. And let that paint break. It's a very delicate touch. Very delicate touch. And then you sort of work it back and forth. Redefining firm edges. Maybe that comes on out. Right on around. When you're practicing, get an old canvas or something and just paint mountain after mountain. It'll teach you control, teach you how to make some of these fantastic effects. Okay? Good clean dry brush. I want to again create the illusion of mist down here. So very gently, following the angles in the mountain, always following those angles. Just tap. Be sure your brush is clean and dry. Then lightly, just 2 hairs and some air. Lift upward. 2 hairs and some air. Boy, that is light. Just barely grazing the canvas. Over here, follow these angles. And same thing, lift upward. But just on the base. Let me show you a little trick. Maybe you want to show another range of mountains right in front here. Okay, watch here. Watch here, watch here. Let's start off and put a little highlight on there. See there? There he goes. Maybe, who knows, maybe in your world, maybe there's a bump. There's right there. All you have to do, make a decision and drop it in. Because you can do anything on this canvas. Anything that you want to do. That easy. But now we need a shadow. Watch right here. See, this makes no sense until you slip back in here and put a happy little shadow right in there. See, then bloop, just jumps right up there. All right, here we go. Just like that. See, every highlight needs its own shadow or it won't come out and play with you. All right, and a couple here and there. Okay, now then, clean dry brush, and we'll put some mist at the base of this little mountain. But see how you can put another mountain right in front of that one? That easy. That easy. I told you you had power. You can do anything. All right. Any old thing. Okay. Okay, let's have some fun. We'll just keep that same old mountain color we got here. That was black, Prussian blue, some Van Dyke brown, some crimson, and I'll add a little touch of sap green to it. Just a little bit of sap green. So we have a very dark color. Okay, I'll clean off my knife. Let me reach over here. Today, let's use a 1-inch brush. I'm gonna go right into that color. Just tap a little color in there. Let's go right down at the base of this mountain, and maybe down in here, there's some little trees and bushes that live right down in here. Just push, bend the brush upward, push it. That makes all those little things just happen. That easy. There they go. There's another one. Wherever you want them to be. Okay. There. Ooh, looks like I've got one heck of a mess there. Let me show you though. See now, one of the things used to drive me crazy when I was traditional painting was reflections. Watch how easy. Just grab that and pull it down. Because the canvas is wet, the paint will move, and reflections can be made that easy. Pull straight down and then go lightly across, just enough to distort it a little. That easy. Instant reflections. Instant reflections. Now let's put some highlights on there. I'll dip a 1-inch brush into a touch of just a touch of the liquid white. We'll go through some yellow. Reach up here and grab some sap green. Okay, a lot of paint. Let's go right up in here. Now then, let's just come right in here and we'll throw some beautiful little highlights on these, and we'll sort of vary the colors, and I'll hit a little ochre, a little Indian yellow here and there, maybe even a little touch of bright red. See, now while you have this on the brush, we can reflect some of it right down into the water. Shoot, we're having so much fun with reflections here. Why not keep them going? It's another little bush. Let him reflect right into the water. Right into the water. Maybe this one right here. Ooh, that's a pretty one. Reflect him down into the water. Another one right there. Wherever you think they should live. See, now you can go in and push the brush upward. Just see there? Isn't that super? And just make all kinds of happy little things. Put a little bit right down in there. Now then. Back to the 2-inch brush and 2 hairs and some air again, very lightly. Just caress it. Make love to it. Straight down, and very lightly go across. Very lightly. And that's a super way to make those mirror reflections, and it's easy. It's easy. I'm gonna take a touch of the liquid white to that. I'll add a little bit of brown, a little bit of the dark sienna. Pull it out very flat and then cut across it. Okay, let's go up here. Now with that, I'm gonna reach right in here and use a firm pressure. And let's just cut in a little water line. You really get tough with it. Cut it right into the fabric. Just really cut it. There. See there? Isn't that easy? And put a little ripple here and there if you want it. That's sort of up to you. Now keep these water lines and ripples basically straight. If they're not straight, your water will look like it's going to run right out of your painting on the floor and get the floor wet. We don't want that to happen. Okay, going right back to the 1-inch brush into the dark color. Very dark color. Pull the brush. A lot of paint. Give it a wiggle. We're trying to make a sharp chisel edge. See how sharp that brush is? Very sharp. It takes a lot of paint on the bristles to hold it together. Okay, now then, maybe there lives in our world right here a happy little evergreen tree. And we start off by just making a line, then just using the corner of the brush. See there? And you can do this with a 2-inch brush or the fan brush. Fan brush makes nice delicate ones. 1-inch brush, anything. Anything. There, okay. Between each tree, bring it back to a nice sharp chisel edge, very sharp. Just the corner of the brush. As you work down the tree, add more and more pressure. And you're using more of the brush, but the angle that you hold the brush is basically the same through the entire tree. It's just that you're adding more and more pressure so it pushes, bends the brush. Okay, I tell you what, let's have one more right there. Right there. If you had 2 trees there, sooner or later you'd have a 3rd one. You know how them little rascals are. You got to watch them. There. Okay, now maybe under here something lives. Little bushes and stuff live right out here. Just push them in. Just push. Push the brush upward. Now one thing you want to avoid, don't let the brush slide. If the brush slides, watch, if it slides, you're going to get that kind of effect. Don't let it slide. Push it, bend it. Okay, now, let's put a little bit of that down here. We'll have some reflections in this water. I like reflections. But isn't that the nicest way you've ever seen to make reflections? There. Tell you what. Shoot, we don't want this other side to get left out while I have the old brush dirty here. Let's go over on the other side. I'll reload the brush the same way, bringing it to a nice sharp chisel edge. All right, let's go back up here. Maybe we'll have a big evergreen that lives right here. Just the corner of the brush, back and forth. Had a lady in class one time, and she called these Z trees, like Zorro. And that's sort of a good analogy, sort of just back and forth. Back and forth. Well, I traveled and taught for many, many years and met some of the most fantastic people in the country. And I still correspond with a lot of them. And you can't believe some of the pain paintings people are doing now after taking a class and a couple of years of practice. It's just unreal. We have several people that have literally quit their job and they went into painting full time. Now they're happier. Painting makes you happy. Don't think you can be sad and do this. Shoot, let's have another little bush that's right here. Like so. I've got too old and tired. I don't do much traveling and teaching anymore. We have a staff of teachers that travel and teach now, and they're fantastic. They are fantastic. See, same old color here. Same color. Just pop in some little things wherever you want them. If I'm not careful, I'm going to cover up the whole canvas. Okay. Like so. All right. Now then, let's go back to the 2-inch brush. Decide where reflection and land meet here, and grab it and pull straight down. It's important you pull straight down. You don't want your reflections to be all crookedy. Okay, then lightly go across. See? Over here, make the same decision. Where do you want this one to be? Right there. Right there. Right there. And pull him down. Anything you don't like, you just turn it into reflections. That easy. We don't make mistakes. Shoot, we have happy accidents. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the dark sienna, put a little white into it, pull that paint out as flat as I can get it, and cut across. And once again, we have that small little roll of paint. Okay, let's go right up here to this old evergreen tree. We'll just put the indication here and there, little trunk in there. Like so. Same thing on the other side. There we go, just wherever you think they should be. And you won't see the whole trunk, so just here and there. You can also just take and scrape through and make all kind of little bushes and sticks and twigs. And people will think you spent a lot of time putting them rascals in. And don't you tell them any different. That's our secret. All right, I'm going to take some yellow. I'm going to reach up here and grab a little bit of black. Black and yellow make a beautiful, beautiful dark green. Pull that brush in one direction. Okay, now then, let's just begin popping in some little highlights on these trees. Now think about the individual limbs that live in this tree. Don't just throw these on at random. I know sometimes it looks that way, but sort of think like a tree. There we go. Pick up a little bit of the yellow ochre, and we can begin reflecting this right into the water. And if your paint won't stick, if you have trouble making it stick, add the least little touch of paint thinner or a little bit of the liquid white. Either one. But work in the layers, doing the bush or the tree that's the farthest away and coming forward. See how you can create the illusion of distance and depth? That easy. That easy. There's another one. What's a sparkler there? Pretty little devil. Like him. Like him. There. See, these little things are real to me. Somebody wrote me a letter and said, "Guys, you refer to these things like they were real people. They have arms and legs, and you know, you have to be a little weird to be a painter, so they're real to me. These are my friends." All right. Tell you what, let's go on the other side. Same thing. Same thing. Let's put some happy little bushes and trees and oh, that's a nice one. See, and there's nothing wrong with making friends with nature. Nothing wrong with it. One day nature's going to take over again and you're going to need a friend. There. Just get a touch of the bright red and maybe, ooh, there's a pretty one. Look at that son of a gun shine. Right up in there. There we go. Another one. Once again, though, we're layering these. So it creates that illusion of distance. And we can reflect some of that right into the water. See how easy it is to make some of the most striking reflections. And if you're out selling paintings, boy, this will sell your painting. People love these little reflections. Now pull straight down, very light. Very, very light. I mean, just, ooh, one hair and some air. Okay, now then, let's take a little bit of Van Dyke brown with the knife. We need some land for all this to set on. Don't want it to fall over in the water and make a big splash. Don't want your tree to drown. You just made friends with him. There. See there? And maybe right up in here. Look at that. Look at that. Now think about the lay of the land and pull this just like it was real. Just give it a pull, because water normally sets in a recessed area, so you want this to have the impression it's lower. So I'll take some dark sienna, a little Van Dyke brown, a little white, and let's come right in here and put a few little highlights on this. See there? Make it look like rocks and stones and all kinds of little things. That easy. But angles are very important. A little bit of the liquid white. And we drop in just some little water lines under here, just like we did in the background. Just cut them in. A little on the other side. See there? And we'll take this old brush. I'm just going to put a few highlights. Old clock on the wall tells me it's about time to go for today. So as I finish up this tree here, I'd like to wish you happy painting. God bless, and I'll see you next time.